Buen día, espero que todos estén bien. Ahora vamos a repasar los verbos que son irregulares en el pretérito que ustedes vieron en lección 9. Vamos a explicar un poco los verbos y después tengo una actividad que deben hacer antes de la clase el martes, el 21 de marzo. ¿Sí? El pretérito irregular. Okay, so you've already learned two verbs that have the same forms that are irregular in the preterite, ir and ser. There are also other irregulars, and one thing about verbs that are irregular in the preterite is the fact that they do not have accent marks. Okay? There are different groups of verbs, and you can see here that there's a group. There's an example from the U stem group, the I stem group, and the J stem group. Now, if you notice, these groups of preterite endings are all the same. The e, iste, o, imos, and ieron for each of those verbs. Okay? Ser and ir are different. Ver also is, remember I considered it irregular because it doesn't have an accent mark. And so that is one of the irregular forms. And then we're also going to see the verb dar, which is very similar to ver. Okay? So let's look at the different groups. Okay? So there's the U stem group that, aside from tener, we have poder, poner, saber, estar. Now, what is not listed here is the verb andar, which is also part of this group. So anduve, anduviste, anduvo, anduvimos, anduvieron. Okay. Now for the I en español, el grupo I, además de venir, besides venir, we have querer and hacer. Now, querer becomes quis, hacer becomes is. Now, if you notice, though, with hacer in the el, ea, usted form, which is the third form over, the C changes to a zeta. So, hizo, and that's to maintain that sound. Because if we didn't make that change, then it would be ico, and we don't want that. Okay. Now, our other group is the jota, and besides decir, we have verbs like traer, conducir, and traducir, que es tra, conduj, traduj. But if you notice in the ellos, ellas, ustedes form that I have over in yellow, in amarillo, that instead of ieron, just with this group, we use eron. Okay. And now most verbs that end in cir, like traducir and conducir, are also J stem, jota, verbs in the preterite. So, like for example, producir becomes produje, produjiste, etc. Okay. The verb dar, like I mentioned, is very similar to the verb ver. Instead of be, it's di. Instead of viste, it's diste. Instead of vio, it's dio. Instead of vimos, it's dimos. And instead of vieron, it's dieron. So it's very similar to the verb ver. And one last irregular is haber, which is hubo, for there was or there were in the preterite. Okay. So now what we're going to do is an activity called la fiesta sorpresa. You're going to completa estas oraciones con el pretérito de los verbos entre paréntesis. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video, and I would like you to fill out what are the forms of the preterite for each of these verbs. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video. Welcome back. Okay. So vamos a repasar las respuestas. El sábado pasado hubo una fiesta sorpresa para Elsa en mi casa. Sofía hizo un pastel para la fiesta y Miguel trajo un flan. Los amigos y parientes de Elsa vinieron y trajeron regalos. El hermano de Elsa no vino porque tuvo que trabajar. Su tía María Dolores tampoco pudo venir. Cuando Elsa abrió la puerta, todos gritaron ¡Feliz cumpleaños! Y su esposo le dio un beso. Elsa no supo cómo reaccionar. Estuvo un poco nerviosa al principio, pero pronto sus amigos pusieron música y ella pudo relajarse bailando con su esposo. Al final de la noche, todos dijeron que se divirtieron mucho. Okay, so I hope you were able to get those answers correct, and we will practice more with those in class, and I will have some questions over this activity as well. Gracias por su tiempo.